Published, 1847 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, the 6th of April 2019. Updated, 1847 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, the 6th of April 2019. Former New York Mets star Lenny Nails Dykstra says he is planning to sue ex-teammate Ron Darling for claiming that he went on a racist tirade aimed at an opposing pitcher during the World Series in 1986. Dykstra was angry after Darling, the retired star pitcher, wrote in his book 108 Stitches that Nails hurled unprintable racial slurs at Boston Red Sox starter Dennis "Oil Can" Boyd during Game 3 of the World Series at Fenway Park. Darling writes in his book that Dykstra shouted this stream of unconscionable s*** at Boyd, who looked rattled on the mound and gave up a home run to Nails, which sparked the team to victory in that pivotal game. In a guest column for the New York Post, which published the excerpt from Darling's book, Dykstra wrote, "If you are going to lie, at least come up with a good one." Lenny Dykstra, left, says he intends to sue his former Mets teammate, Ron Darling, right, for claiming that he went on a racist tirade on the field during a World Series game in 1986. According to Darling, Dykstra unleashed the tirade moments before he hit a first-inning home run off Boyd during Game 3, seen above. Darling writes in his book that Dykstra shouted this stream of unconscionable s*** at Boyd, left, who looked rattled on the mound and gave up a home run to Nails, right, which sparked the team to victory in that pivotal game. Dykstra blasted Darling, who is currently a widely regarded baseball analyst on television. Nails accused Darling of fabricating the story about the racist tirade. "I admit that I have done things in my life that I am not proud of, but I own those mistakes," Dykstra writes. "This just didn't happen. It's been 33 years, and no one has ever told this story. That should tell you all you need to know." Darling has made the claims in his new book, 108 Stitches, which is published by St. Press. Dykstra and Darling were teammates on the last Mets championship team that won the World Series in 1986. Dykstra on Sunday slammed Darling, sarcastically calling him Mr. Perfect because of the ex-pitcher's Ivy League education and reputation as an all-around good guy. "Mr. Perfect, that's what I call Darling, made the accusation, for one reason, his ego." Dykstra writes, "He always tries to come across as humble, but he's full of s***. When we played together, he wasn't really in the mix with the rest of us. He was a loner and always chasing skirt. He thought he was better than the rest of us because he went to Yale." Dykstra said he received telephone calls from 3 African-American former teammates from his Mets days. According to the former All-Star center fielder, Kevin Mitchell, Darryl Strawberry, and Dwight Gooden phoned him to express their support for Dykstra and their anger at Darling. "They all said the same thing, what the FK is this?" Dykstra writes. Dykstra wrote that Darling assumed people would believe him because of Nails' frequent run-ins with the law. "They were pissed. And they should be because what he did crossed the line. They said, we're going to get the truth out." Dykstra writes that Darling assumed people would think I'm a criminal and believe the flat-out, ridiculous lie. Since his retirement in 1996, Dykstra has had numerous run-ins with the law. He has either been accused of or charged with sexual assault, bankruptcy fraud, grand theft auto, possession of narcotics, and uttering terroristic threats. In 2012, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison after pleading no contest to grand theft auto charges. He ended up serving just under 7 months. Dykstra writes in the Post that the Mets' second baseman at the time, Wally Backman, was on deck waiting to bat after Nails when he allegedly went on his racist tirade at Oil Can Boyd. He writes that Backman called his son, Luke Dykstra, and told him, "Your father didn't say anything." Dykstra writes that not only does he plan on suing Darling, but his publisher and co-author as well. "This is going to cost him, maybe, his job, definitely a lot of money." Dykstra writes, "I'm going to sue Mr. Perfect." His co-author Daniel Paisner and St. Martin's Press, "and I'm going to serve him the papers while he's in the booth." In 2016, Dykstra wrote his own book about his bad boy ways, House of Nails, a memoir of life on the edge. In the book, Dykstra described how he would arrange to meet women for sexual encounters at certain parts of the baseball stadium before a game. In the post on Sunday, he writes that he needed a team of lawyers to fact-check his claims in the book, something that he says Darling and his publisher did not do. When I did my book, they must have had 30 lawyers on it, because my stories were crazy, Nails writes on Sunday. Dykstra and Darling were teammates on the last Mets championship team that won the World Series in 1986. Darling is seen left pitching Game 4 of the World Series against the Red Sox at Fenway Park. Dykstra is seen right at bat during Game 7 of the series at Shea Stadium, but they were able to confirm all of them. Do you know how many chicks they had to talk to? Not one person called me from Darling's minor league publishing house. Darling is regarded as one of baseball's best broadcasters. He spends most of the season as a color analyst for the Mets and their regional television network, Sportsnet New York. As the Dykstra controversy was swirling, Darling posted a statement to his Twitter feed on Thursday before the Mets home opener at Citi Field against the Washington Nationals. The focus of today should be on the Mets home opener, one of the team's greatest traditions. Even though my recently released book 108 Stitches has sparked some controversy, I stand by all recollections that were written, but I do regret that my former teammates have been approached for comment. Oil can Boyd, seen above playing for the Montreal Expos in 1990, said he doesn't recall hearing Dykstra's tirade, but he believes Darling due to a legal threat. I have been advised not to make any further comments at this time. On Tuesday, Boyd told WFAN radio that while he did not hear Dykstra's alleged tirade, he believes Darling to be telling the truth. Honestly, I don't know anything about it, the former Red Sox pitcher said. I was even speaking with my spouse in the last 24 hours or so about it, just briefly and everything, and I said to her, baby, I don't even know, I'm warming up for a ball game, and I'm preparing to go out and try to get the New York Mets out, one at a time, and that's all that's on my mind. And to see any kind of gestures toward me coming from the opposing dugout, I didn't see anything like that, nor was I looking for anything like that.